It is the future and everything has gone really wrong. The looming threat of nuclear annihilation is over thanks to the development of super reliable air defenses, but this has only led to an endless state of paranoid Cold War. Armed factions gather around the world's dwindling resources. Mega corporations obsess over new ways to push their expensive technologies, and government agencies seek ever more inventive ways to assassinate privacy. It's a big old mess. The third Call of Duty, Black Ops campaign, then, is another globe-trotting conspiracy thriller filled with secret bases, covert government programs and wisecracking solders just trying to keep their ship together as the galaxy collapses around them. You enter the maelstrom as fresh-faced rookies, fighting for the Winslow Accord, which sounds like a Terrence Rattigan play, but is actually a gathering of countries looking to ring-fence themselves from swarthy foreigners. An Egyptian minister has been kidnapped by the evil Nile River Coalition, and you need to get him back. During the mission, however, the player character, who can't be either a man or a woman, is fatally wounded, then transformed into a cyborg. From here, you are led into a conspiracy-fueled potboiler centered on the corporate HQ of Robotics firm Coalescence, which blew up under mysterious circumstances a decade previously, taking out most of Singapore in the process. Got all that? No. It doesn't matter. Black Ops III, like every Call of Duty before it, is a throbbing mass of blockbuster movie cliches, masquerading as a cogent plot line. Soldiers quote nets and say things like, "They may not be a priority but they're still people, damn it," without batting an accurately modeled eyelid, and the story jerks noisily around the world like a heavily armed gap-year student. Everywhere you go, from the Zurich public transport system to an abandoned drilling platform, is either collapsing or on fire, sometimes thrillingly both at once. En route, you spend a lot of time in flashbacks or surreal virtual reality encounters, which, like the Shangri-La missions in Far Cry 4, are visually arresting but end up simply dislocating you from the narrative tension and sense of presence. Through 12 hours of these exhaustingly cacophonous missions, the confusing story of CIA shenanigans leads us inexorably toward the ending of the original Black Ops. Only here the guiding force is advanced computer technology rather than psychotropic drugs and half-fisted brainwashing. There is even a 60s pop song playing at a key moment, used in exactly the same way as Sympathy for the Devil was in Black Ops 1. But is it fun? Sort of, thanks largely to two interesting additions. Throughout the campaign, players are able to spend tokens, or fabrication kits, on a range of cybernetic enhancements, split into three categories: control hacking and hijacking stuff, martial movement, and melee chaos, blowing shit up. If you prefer taking a defensive approach to each environment, you can unlock abilities that let you short-circuit robots and weapons, and if you just want to kill more stuff, Chaos offers the ability to emulate robots and send out swarms of buzzing mini-drones to confuse and frighten soldiers. You can also equip special tactical rigs in your loadout, giving you wall running and extra defensive capabilities. This sense of personalization, as modest as it is, adds a degree of tactical depth to the bullet vortex that is the standard COD level. This is greatly enhanced when you select to play campaign cooperatively with 2-3 friends. Here, you're able to mix and match roles and abilities in the classic RPG style, putting your more subtle and skillful players in Overwatch positions, while run and gun fanatics just max out their assault rifles with cool attachments and sprint into the death pit. The problem is, the level design is not quite as open and arena-like as many had hoped. There are certainly several vast areas, which really reward groupthinking, such as a mass battle on the streets of Cairo and a big battle on the steps of a crumbling skyscraper. But there is still a lot of funneling and corridor blasting as you're led through the ghost train of climactic plot points. It all feels a little limited and old-fashioned compared to, say, the free-form group play of Destiny or the promised technical complexity of Tom Clancy's The Division. The enemies, too, are rather disappointing. The futuristic setting has naturally meant the arrival of giant robot soldiers, but they all look and act the same, trudging toward you, occasionally strafing, sometimes sprinting a bit, but always lifeless and unengaging, like Marvin the paranoid android with guns. Then you have the bullet sponge tanks patrolling key areas, and a few buzzing drones, and you just think Destiny. Grafted onto the side are the old familiar fallbacks. The on-rails vehicle sequences where someone shouting "you take the turret" means spending the next 10 minutes aimlessly spraying the screen with machine gun fire, while a lot of things explode. Then the flight combat bits where you aimless spray the screen with missiles until you're allowed to get out of the goddamn plane. Black Ops III wants to explore and subvert genre conventions, and manages to produce some interesting sequences in the process. But ultimately, force-feeding the lot of ideas from Apocalypse Now and Inception into COD's factory line meat grinder is perhaps not the way to evolve this franchise's storytelling potential. Playing Black Ops III campaign is like trying to simultaneously watch every Tom Cruise sci-fi movie ever made while being punched in the face by the universe. It is not just loud and brash, it is actively trolling the concept of nuance. It is a menacing stranger with an egg icon, leaving cap-locked insults and subtleties Twitter feed. And that's fine, honestly, if we hadn't already played about 100 Call of Duty campaigns that tried to do similar things, just with less gadgets. Advertisement co-opus is certainly a smart addition, and there is much fun to be had roaming these strange and beautifully presented tableaus of death, honor and subterfuge. But Treyarch is trapped within the confines of this billion-dollar prison, and its desire to add tactical depth and narrative ingenuity to the recipe is now continually coming up against the same barriers as the player when you attempt to run out of the sneakily limited action box. You are leaving the mission area. You have 10 seconds to return. Of course, Call of Duty has much more to offer, and we'll get to that in our review. There's the online multiplayer, of course, and the zombie mode, as well as a new Nightmares offering which lets you play through the campaign missions with undead enemies and other surprises. But the main story, which used to be the first port of call for a lot of players, now feels just part of the package. That moment in Call of Duty 4 with the Mushroom Cloud, the sheer controversy-baiting madness of the no Russian scene in Modern Warfare 2, the way Black Ops segued beautifully into its zombie campaign, those moments people actually talked about seem a long way away. So much chaos, so much death, says a lead character at one point. But they don't seem exasperated, they seem resigned. It is the sound of Call of Duty devouring itself.